trying to get this whole comments thing going so I can follow it easier here. Alrighty. Okay. All right. So we got a really good one today. I'm very excited. So I really hope y'all hop on. Thank you for coming to Try It Thursdays. We're going to wait just a few more seconds, see if people can hop on. And if not, you catching a replay. You catching a good one, I promise. Okay. Hey there. Say hey, whoever hopped on, so I can see you. And as you've seen through my post, I have focused on nuts this week. So that's what we're going to talk about today. It has been very hard not to make inappropriate jokes, I will tell you that. But I want to highlight the benefits of nuts and how to go about them, because I don't think we're all aware. So again, hey, I am LB. Welcome to Try It Thursdays. Thank you for hopping on. Hey, how you doing, Bree? Thank you so much for hopping on. So we're going to talk about nuts. Yes, honey. So they are a quick go-to snack. There are all kinds. They're marketing them, with all different kind of flavors. And so how many of us have these, right? The different flavored ones. They're so good, right? Really, really tasty. However, I just want to make us aware of a couple things. So when you buy nuts that are pre-seasoned, or, like the nuts in a can, or the nuts in a bag, they already have oil on them. And it's usually not the best oil. So they're not, loving them down with some avocado or olive oil that's like canola oil, or, a sapphire oil. And then again, it's sitting in oil, sitting on the shelf for Lord knows how long, so that's when they become rancid. So you don't want to eat rancid nuts. You want to eat them fresh as possible. So you say, okay, great, LB, I'm going to give me some raw nuts, right? Yes, kind of. So go ahead and get you unflavored nuts. They can be almonds, walnuts, pecans, whatever. They're all amazing. Fun fact, not a fan of macadamia, but they're very healthy for you. Just don't like them. Anyway, but I love all the rest of the nuts. So you would go ahead and grab you some raw nuts, okay? And you would, most people just say, oh, I can just start eating them. No, because nuts have anti-nutrients in them. So what's an anti-nutrient? An anti-nutrient is something that kind of works against you in your intestine, in your gut. Because I'm going to talk a lot about the gut the more we get to know each other, because your gut is the source of so much. It's basically the main source of your immune system. It can trigger some really bad things if it's not in place. So we want to always, always, always pay attention to our gut. So nuts have an anti-nutrient called phytic acid. And so that is it inhibits absorption in your gut. So it's inhibiting the absorption of calcium, iron, magnesium, and that's not good, because the whole point of us eating nuts, we're trying to get those healthy benefits. We're trying to get those nutrients, those vitamins, that plant-based protein, that healthy fat. We want all that good stuff. Well, unfortunately, sometimes it can work against us if we are not doing it correctly. So what do? You can go ahead and get you some sprouted nuts. So sprouted nuts, that means that someone or a company has soaked them, washed them and soaked them, and they started to resprout. And then they'll go ahead and dehydrate them. So that way when you're able to eat them after that. Once they're dried, you're able to eat them like that, and they have all the benefits that you want in nuts. They will absorb properly in your intestine. They won't block anything or inhibit anything that could be good for you. So that's what you do. You can either buy you some sprouted, or you can be like me and go ahead and dehydrate them yourself. So there's a difference between dehydrated and sprouting. The sprouting is when it actually starts to kind of turn back into a walnut plant. It's just fine, very healthy for you. And you'll see them in stores on Amazon, sprouted nuts. So if you don't want to take the time and do it yourself and dehydrate them, you can go ahead and get you some sprouted nuts. Those are the best ones to get for you. Of course, unflavored, flavor them at home, because again, we don't want those rancid nuts. That rancid oil will cause inflammation, and it's usually not a high quality oil either. So you're eating something that's old, and you're eating something that is inhibiting the absorption of nutrients in your gut, and you're eating something that you just didn't do yourself. So who knows? So it's great to try to do most of it yourself. But if not, go ahead and get you some sprouted nuts and you can flavor it yourself. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to show you a few things today. I'm going to show you how to dehydrate your nuts, soak and dehydrate your nuts. And I'm also going to show you a fun little recipe to make some almond bread with, nut flour. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, you're going to go ahead and you're going to grab your raw almonds. We're going to, it can be any nut. Grab your raw nuts. I'm going to do almonds today. You would grab them and put maybe a teaspoon. So this is a cup of almonds, and I soaked them for about 12 hours. And I put them in water, make sure they're covered, and I did about a tablespoon or 2 of Himalayan pink salt. And this is kind of what they look like. Okay. And so after that, after you've soaked them overnight, about 10 to 12 hours, you can go ahead and rinse them. Now, some recipes will tell you, don't rinse them, keep them, keep the salt in them. I like the salty taste. I don't like that. Go ahead and rinse them, because look at that. They look a little nasty. So, you got to clean your stuff. Be clean. So we're going to clean this, and we're going to rinse them off, okay? After they've been soaked for some hours, and they'll come out looking like this, okay? So all we've done, we've soaked them in water. Try to use good water, spring water, or filtered water. Soak them in water overnight with your Himalayan pink salt or sea salt, and go ahead and rinse them off. I prefer to rinse them, and you can have them like this, okay? So this is a cup, a little over a cup really. So then this is where you can do a bunch of things. You can just go ahead and you can use your dehydrator if you have one. So I have the Nesco Professional Dehydrator. This is what it looks like. Okay. And the one I have, it comes with a bunch of trays. And I'll bring it up for you. But I'm just using 2 trays today. And if you don't have a dehydrator, you can just use your oven. So you can use, you can do it at like 200 degrees in your oven for about 4 hours or more, until they're completely dry, or you can put them in your dehydrator for about 10 hours. So just overnight. Put them in your dehydrator. On this particular dehydrator, it has a setting for nuts and seeds, and that's at 105 degrees Fahrenheit. So you have your nuts, they're all nice and clean. You can leave them as they are and just kind of eat them raw and dehydrated, perfectly fine. Delicious that way. Or if you're like, no, I want to spice up my life, I want some flavor, right? So like the fun nuts that you want to buy on the shelf, I get it. So this is what we're going to do. So we have our nuts, they're all rinsed, and they're still kind of moist because we just rinsed them off. Look, they look nice and clean and not all crazy and milky looking. Nice and clean. And then you can go ahead and season it how you want. You can avocado oil or olive oil on them. You can do olive oil here because we're cooking at a very low heat, hardly no heat. So you can do a little bit of olive oil or avocado oil and some salt. Season how you want. But I did about 2 tablespoons of honey and a teaspoon of amino acids, a little bit of smoked paprika, and about a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, because I kind of wanted like a soy glazed, smoky kind of deal, right? I was kind of trying to mimic the flavor here. Oh, and I added a few drops of liquid smoke. So let me show you just what those items look like. So liquid smoke, it's, if you are plant-based, this needs to be a staple in your home because you don't eat meat. So a lot of that smoky flavor that you get with the grill of meat or in a lot of meat products, you can go ahead and create that with this liquid smoke, okay? So you have the liquid smoke. I did do a dash of hot sauce because I love spicy. So I did a little dash, right? I'm actually not a Texas Pete kind of gal. I'm a red hot, but this Texas Pete does have some spice to it. So that's what I wanted. I was going for the spice factor. And then I did my 2 tablespoons of local honey. So wherever you live in, go ahead and get some local honey. Why? Because the bees are pollinating and they got their honey, they're making their honey from the pollen in your area. So it will assist with your allergies and your immune system. Just some garlic powder. Y'all know I love me some Aldi, so that's where I got this. And I did some aminos. You can do soy sauce if you want. And that's it. And I gave it a little whiskey poo. All right. And this is kind of what it looks like. A little pretty deep, a deep red color. And you can drizzle it on your nuts. Okay. This is my favorite spatula. I like it. It's made from food grade silicone. And I like that it's like super flexible and I don't know, it's my favorite. I have another blue one, but it's not shaped like this one. I just love this spatula so much. So anyway, so you'll see it a lot. So we've covered our nuts and our delicious flavoring. And we have our dehydrator. And so we're going to, if you have this dehydrator, go ahead and use the little insert that doesn't have any holes in it, okay? And then you would go ahead, make a little mess. Put it right on there. Okay, and so you're gonna make sure everything is in one layer. Let's see if I can show y'all from here. So the only thing that I found out about Facebook Live is that you have to film everything in portrait. You can't do landscape. And so like, there's a lot of stuff y'all can't see that's actually on the table and what goes on. But anyway, it's okay. It all works out. Okay, so you see how it's all in one layer? And again, if you don't have a dehydrator, same process for your oven. You're gonna just get a cookie sheet and you can put down some parchment paper, spray it really good with some oil, and go ahead and make sure it's all in one layer and put it in your oven on either the bread proofing button if you have one, and if you don't, just 200 degrees Fahrenheit for a few hours, about 4 hours in your oven, and in your dehydrator it's going to take about 10 to 12 hours. So I love my dehydrator. You can do all kinds of fun things with it. You can dry out herbs. You can make your own tea. So literally go to the store, get a bushel of some peppermint and put it in your dehydrator, dry it out. Honey, there's your peppermint tea. You know, I love dehydrators. You dry out fruit, you dry out vegetables. You can rehydrate them in a soup or in various recipes. It's great for saving. A lot of times people get upset with plant-based cooking because their vegetables and fruits go bad fast. Well, a dehydrator helps you with that because you're able to dehydrate the vegetables and the fruits, store them, and then rehydrate them when you're ready to use them. So anyway, so we have our dehydrator and we would turn it on and let it go. So that's how you make your own flavored nuts that will help you. You'll get all the nutrients, all the benefits, maximum nutrient absorption in your gut instead of inhibiting absorption in your gut. So that's what we want. Okay, so another, look at my little notes here, y'all. So there's another recipe I wanted to highlight with you all, and it is inspired by Sweet as Honey. It's a food blog, and I have tried out many different almond breads. This is a keto recipe. Many different almond breads, nut breads, because gluten does inflame me. And so, and I'm pretty low. I try to be as low carb as possible because, you know, I love me some carbs, honey, but they don't do me right. So I tried to do a lot of low carb recipes. And after many, many tries, this is one that I really enjoy. And I didn't feel the need to alter it or make it my own. It's perfect as it is. So shout out to Sweet as Honey for their inspired recipe that we're gonna do with almond bread. So in the recipe that she makes it in a loaf. We're gonna go ahead and make it as a sheet, because one, it cuts down on the time. It cuts down on like her recipe. You have to like let it sit overnight and let it cool overnight and all that. You don't got to do this with this one. You can literally take it out, let it cool in about 20 minutes, and it's ready to go. So here's what you're gonna need. So you remember those nuts that we dehydrated? I wanted to show you what they look like. So I did some yesterday, and this is what they look like dehydrated. Okay, and so they're going to have a you want to make sure that they're completely dry. So that's why I said go ahead and let it run that 12 hours, because if it's not dry, if it has some moisture, they will mold, and we don't want to ingest mold in our bodies. So they're a little softer in texture when you eat them. They're still delicious, but they don't have the same texture as they used to have. Just warning you. They literally have the very same texture and look and feel of the sprouted nut. So when you buy some, this is pretty much the exact thing, just without the work. If you want to do the work yourself, this is how you do it. So this is what it looks like when they're all done. This time I did put salt. I just literally I didn't even put any oil on it. I just sprinkled a little bit of Himalayan salt before I dehydrated them, and they are plenty salty. It was just literally a little sprinkle. I don't think I'm gonna do that next time. I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna let it either just let them go and not be seasoned, or season them with a flavor like I did. But in regards of just putting the salt straight on there, I wasn't a fan, because it really stuck to there. It wasn't bad. It was just a little more salty than I was expecting. So in this bread recipe, it actually calls for a teaspoon of salt. We don't need that because we made our own flour out of our dehydrated nuts. So you can do two things. A lot of people will after that before they put them in a dehydrator, we'll go ahead and work the skins off. The skins don't bother me, so I keep my skins on. So that's why mine looks like this, kind of that pretty brown, light brown color. If you purchase almond flour, it's going to look like this, because they're always going to blanch their almonds. So that means they're removing the skin. Okay, so the recipe calls for 2.5 cups of almond flour. This is about a cup, and I'm sorry, 2.5 cups. This is about 2.5 here. So this is 2. So we're gonna do a little more. Mix that in there. So pretty. And so how I made the almond flour, I just put it in my Vitamix, put my almonds right in my Vitamix, and just ran it until it came into this kind of a texture flour. Look at that. So pretty. So we made that, and we're going to, let me get a bigger bowl. We grab a bigger bowl. All right, so while I have a bigger bowl coming for me, you're going to need your almond flour, 2.5 cups. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of, 2 tablespoons of oil. And again, we're baking, so it's going to be an avocado or a grapeseed oil. Then we're also going to need some baking powder, a teaspoon. a tablespoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of xanthan gum. This is what it looks like. Red meal, so this is my brand of choice. That's what it looks like. So it's basically, since it's gluten-free cooking, this is kind of that glue. It's a thickener, a vegan thickener that a lot of gluten-free or vegans use in baking. And you're gonna need a cup of room temp or warm water. And you're gonna need 4 eggs. 2 eggs with yolks and 2 egg whites. And some apple cider vinegar, teaspoon. Yeah. I've noticed with a lot of low carb cooking, they put the apple cider vinegar in it. Okay, so I think that's all we need. So we got our flour. And so in this recipe, it requires you to keep your dry and your wet separate and then combine them, because it wants you to create the bubbles in the liquid, because that's what makes it fluffy, because it doesn't have any yeast in it. So you kind of want that air. So my hands are clean, I promise. Okay. Oh, and you're also going to need some husk. Okay. And so another thing I've noticed about keto baking, and I'm not a keto person, but they do have a lot of good recipes sometimes for low carb or gluten free. So this is what the Phyllisum husk powder looks like. Okay. And Phyllisum husk is it's a plant-based fiber. It's great for so it's a soluble fiber, so it's great for thickening. It's great for that, like, again, that stick, that glue that you need. And it's low carb. It's not high in carbs. It's really good for you. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I had to drink it a lot to help with digestion, because of course, as you know, when you're pregnant, your digestive system slows down because of the hormones. So we have our flour. We have our teaspoon of xanthan gum. And again, I'm probably saying it wrong because y'all know my pronunciations are not always there. But, okay, all right, we in this together. And you got your baking powder, 1 tablespoon, all right? And your Phyllisum husk. So I've noticed with a lot of keto cooking, they do a lot of ounces. It's all about the weight. So if you are a keto person, go ahead and invest in a food weight. And so you can weigh your food all the time. It's all about the weight. So this is 1 1/4 about ounce of Phyllisum husk. Okay, so we got all our dry ingredients. Yay! Now let's do our wet ingredients. Okay, so with the bread, we're going to make us a vegan BLT. I already pre-did the carrot bacon. If y'all want me to do a carrot bacon recipe, they're all over the internet. If you want me to do one here, I can. But I did one. I did it 2 ways. I did a batch of carrot bacon in the dehydrator. I'm sorry, not in the dehydrator, in the air fryer. And they did kind of have that more bacony texture. And then I did some in the oven, which kind of gave me the feel of like a carrot chip, which I actually preferred. But anywho, so we're going to do our wet ingredients. So again, remember it said two eggs, 2 full eggs. And 2 egg yolks. Excuse my doorbell. My family has ordered dinner because I'm in the process of doing this live. Okay, so, oh, that's so good. I have a thing for cooking sounds, like a really good crack, so I'm picky about my eggs. Let me go and grab one of my wipes. I am picky about my eggs. I need them to be as organic and wonderful as possible. And And how I know they're really good quality, they have a nice hard shell. They give you that wonderful crack when you do your when you crack them open. So we have our 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. And we have our 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is one of those awesome superfoods to have. Just, you gotta have it in your house because it does a little bit of everything. And you put that in there. A lot of people drink it straight or make a tea out of it, which I will highlight one day. I can't do the whole just like a shot. I can't do it, y'all. I can't do it. But so I had to like do a whole thing and make a whole delicious tea out of it because that's the only way I can get it down. Okay, so we have all our wet ingredients. We have our 2 egg whites. We have our 2 full eggs. We have our oil and our apple cider vinegar. And what the recipe asks is that we go ahead and blend it at high speed for about 15 seconds to kind of get those bubbles, and then we add the water, okay? So let me see if I can do this without knocking over my lighting. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I did it. Okay. So have your little hand mixer, all right? It's better to do it with a hand mixer than a stand-up mixer because you want to go ahead and aggressively make those bubbles because you need the bubbles to make it airy and light. A lot of nut breads and gluten-free breads are dense. This one is not. All right, so we got high speed. All right, so we're a little aggressive with it. We want those bubbles. We want that high speed. So you do it for about 15 to 30 seconds, right? And so you can kind of see here. I'll show it to y'all. You see the bubbles? So it's making the bubbles. So then you go ahead and add your water, okay? And then you'll really see it start to bubble up. Foamy, so you do it until you see a foam. So look how pretty. Look how pretty and foamy. Look at that. I love it. So pretty. Okay, so then you add your wet ingredients to your dry ingredients. It looks really cool too. I want to show y'all because the foam kind of sits on top. Look, it looks cool, right? It's all foamy. Okay. So we go ahead and we mix it up again, doing that motion to create that air. And so you do this for about 30 to 45 seconds. Just getting it mixed in really well, incorporating that, those bubbles, that foam, making sure all of the flour is covered. But you don't do it for very long because you don't want to overwork it, okay? Now, let me tell y'all something. I am not a baker. Baking is not my thing. It's too exact. I love cooking. It's all about the creative process for me. It's all about exploring new flavors and all that. Now, I will eat some baked goods. I love to eat them, but I'm not that great at doing them. So this is one of those recipes that it actually works out for me. I've made it quite a few times, and as my family knows, we have tried many a not so good ones, but this one is a really great one. Okay, so you get your cookie sheet, okay, and you get your parchment paper, okay. So this is the parchment paper that I use. It's compostable, biodegradable, all that fun stuff, and I get it from, I have a Grove subscription, so I get it from there. Again, none of this is sponsored yet, but I'll let you know when it is. And hopefully a sister will get some of those sponsors. Okay, so for our next step, we are going to place our dough that we just made onto our cookie sheet, okay? So let me go ahead. All right, so we have our dough. You see it's all nice and thick, all right? That's what it looks like. And we go ahead and scoop. And so the thing also about this recipe is that because we just did all that work getting in the air, okay? We did all that work. You don't want to smash it out and make it too flat. So you do your best to just kind of get it on to your cookie sheet as flat as possible. Okay, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be gorgeous, but you're just doing your best to get it all flat and to get it onto your cookie sheet as best as you can. Okay, yes, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle. You're going to fight a little bit. Hopefully you'll win the battle. Okay. So, all right. So it is a little bit of a task, just kind of getting it on there and not smashing it down too bad, because we kind of want it somewhat airy. We don't want it too dense because, again, it's made from nuts and not like a flour. Now, there are different flours if you don't want to do wheat flour. Spelt flour is very airy, very fluffy. If you for someone looking for a different kind of flour outside of a wheat flour, or wheat isn't doing it for them. Now, spelt is not gluten-free, but it is an ancient grain. And so it's a little less inflammatory than wheat is in some people. Just depends on the person. Wheat does really well with some people. Me, not so much. But if the cupcake or whatever is good enough, I might suffer. Might take a few enzymes and suffer. Just being truthful with y'all. But I try my best not to. I have literally a pail of different alternative flours. I'll do an episode on flours that I have explored throughout the years and have found my favorites. Okay. So, get your cookie sheet. You flatten it as much as possible. It may not fill your whole sheet up. That's fine. It's totally fine. Try not to have as many holes. That's what I'm trying to do, is trying to fill in these holes. Okay. So, if you want to fill up a sheet this big, you just expand the recipe. Okay. So this is kind of flat, but not that flat, right? That's kind of what it looks like. So you're going to go ahead and bake it. Bake it at about 400. You grab this for me? Thank you. You go ahead and bake it. It doesn't take long to bake. Maybe a half an hour, probably faster, about 25 minutes. And it'll start to brown on top. You take it out, let it cool. And so it'll be on your cookie sheet. Let it cool for a few minutes, and then this is just a choice thing. I had this cute little bread-shaped cookie cutter, and I went ahead and made my little shapes into the bread, okay, while it was still warm. So I went ahead and made my little cuts, and then I let it cool completely after that. And then I poked out my little bread-shaped little almond pieces. I'll show you what they turned out like. They turned out really cute. How cute is that? Look how cute they turned out. Right? Makes you feel like you're eating a piece of bread. Okay. So I love this. You can toast it. You can make, You can make avocado toast. You can make French toast. However you want to do it. This is not a vegan recipe as you saw because it has eggs in it. I have not tried this recipe using vegan substitutes like chia, egg, or flax egg or any of that. Haven't tried it yet. But I will if you want me to. Just let me know. So we have our little bread slices. And so we're going to go ahead and make our BLT, okay? So this is vegetarian again because it does have egg in the bread. Not necessarily vegan. All right. So we got our bread. And we got to go ahead and get our fixings. Because you can't have a BLT without the L, the lettuce, and the tomato, and the bacon, right? So as y'all may know, I am a pescatarian, so I don't eat bacon. But I did go ahead and make some, and this is your business. If you eat bacon, go ahead and make it with bacon. It's fine. Do you, boo. But, a healthier option because you have your protein. So it's kind of like an inside out sandwich. You have your protein in your bread, okay? And then we added extra protein with the egg if you're vegetarian or if you're a meat eater. Just fine. Again, vegans, sorry, I haven't tried it with any vegan egg substitutes, but the Just Egg I'm sure probably works just fine. The Just Egg product is made from mung beans. So you can probably, and it's the same consistency as a scrambled egg, so I'm sure it'll work fine. Let me know if you want me to try it. So we have our mayo of choice. All right, you can use vegan mayo, you can use regular mayo, you can use Miracle Whip. And go ahead and put it on your bread. And so the cool thing is, you know you are absorbing all of the nutrients in this sandwich, okay? There is nothing trying to block your progress. They're not trying to keep you from being great, okay? It's letting you be all the way great. So go ahead and put your mayo on your bread. I didn't toast it. I wanted to keep it soft because I kind of wanted that bread kind of soft, sandwichy kind of taste. So for our lettuce of choice, we have a baby kale and baby spinach mix, pre-washed in vinegar water. Okay, and then we have our, so this is the carrot bacon that I did in the oven, and this is the carrot bacon I did in the air fryer. So just letting y'all know what it looked like and how it turned out. Turned out pretty good. I actually liked the more of the carrot chip. But I tend to like crispy things, crunchy things. So we're gonna go ahead and put that on there. And then we have our tomato, our sliced tomato. We have our vegan cheese because sis can't do a whole bunch of dairy. All right. And a little bit of everything but the bagel seasoning because I put this on everything, literally. My mom laughs at me. I put it on everything. So good. Okay, and there we have our little sandwich, our BLT. Look at that. Look what you just made. Y'all did so good. And again, this is one of those recipes you can eat it in the same day. So, because, you know, again, if you were making it into a loaf, you would have to literally wait till the next day and then slice it. But this way, you get to eat it in the same day. You can eat it in like an hour. The whole process probably takes about an hour. So, okay. We learned about our nuts and how to get the full benefits. Hey, Cicely. How to get the full, hey, Sam. How to get the full benefits of our nuts. And we learned how to season them and dehydrate them and soak them. And then we also learned how to make a almond bread because we want a wonderful BLT. LB was craving a BLT. This is what that's how I got here, literally. All right. And let me know again if y'all want me to make or show y'all how to make the carrot bacon. So do y'all have any questions? It is good. Hey, Lulu. It is good. We had it yesterday. It is so good. It was very satisfying. Do y'all have any questions? Thanks, Bree. Okay, y'all. Well, if you're watching the replay, thanks for tuning in. And thanks for coming to Try It Thursdays, where we try new things, we try new recipes, we try new products, because we are trying to be our healthiest and well selves. And me, LB, I am helping you do that. And let's do this all the time, weekly, okay? Go ahead. Oh, you guys, I don't know if you get to see my YouTube videos. I made 2 of them. I did an intro video and I did a fun little fall treat recipe. So go ahead to YouTube, LB Morris Consult, subscribe, watch the video, check it out. And it's a Tasty Tuesday. That's what we're calling I'm going to release a recipe every Tuesday, either in video form or in blog form. And you'll see it. So this past week we did pimento cheese, vegan pimento cheese crescents, and they're shaped like little pumpkins. So they're super cute. They're really good. And in the South, they do a lot of pimento cheese. See, I'm from up north, and pimento cheese got a bad rep up there. It's nasty up there, but it's good down here, okay? So I'm gonna show y'all how to make it vegan, because most, statistically, people of color tend to be lactose intolerant. And it's tasty, and it's super good, and it's shaped like a pumpkin. And y'all know how I feel about pumpkins. I can't resist anything shaped like a pumpkin. So go ahead and check it out, subscribe, and go ahead and make this recipe. All right, I will see y'all next Thursday. And let me know if there's any recipes or anything y'all want me to try it on Thursday, okay? See y'all. Thank you.